Heyo, I hope you're doing alright. It has been pretty busy, and I'm sorry we haven't been able to hang out, especially since last time we hung out. Speaking of which, um, I do still have Millie's collar. I didn't, uh, get you a new one. We should pick one out, though, if you want. Or you can pick one out. Sorry, that. Um, but yeah, collar, if you want. No pressure. Um, Only if you want to wear it, of course. You just really seemed to enjoy it last time. Would you like? Absolutely. Perfect. Anyway, gotta say, the new job has been nice. Um, I have plenty of stories to tell already, plenty of random silly things to complain about. Uh, so, if you don't mind, you can help yourself to some snacks, and I'm just gonna probably ramble about a fair bit of that stuff. I apologize if it's a bit cold. I'm trying to save money on heating, and I find blankets are pretty effective. So feel free to cuddle up in one as well and get comfy. I hate this chair. It is insanely loud. But anyway, yeah. So, okay, where do we start? Um, One thing, if you work in IT, that you will eventually do is you will have customers who, whether you like it or not, take a liking to you specifically, and you will end up being the IT person for that specific customer. And you know what is a entire company? Excuse me. As an entire company, that's one thing. Like, I get that if you're like the SME on that company, you know their systems and all that stuff. I get that, but like, then when it's like just, oh yeah, no, I know how James likes his Microsoft Word to be configured. It's very very specific. It's funny. But here's the weird thing. So I work for an MSP now, right? And there's this one person who, in the span of 3 weeks, worked at two of my clients, two different clients of mine, and stopped working at those clients and seeked employment somewhere else. Uh, I respect the hustle, I suppose, but in both of those two clients, they just left a mess for me because, like, I onboard this person. They work there for like 2 or 3 days, convince the head partner at this firm, who's a really old guy who does not computer, that he needs Dragon transcription software. Instead of having his paralegal do transcription for him, he should be using Dragon. This guy does not computer. We had to program this guy's computer so that he could shut it down gracefully by hitting the power button, because having to navigate to his taskbar was not gonna work for him. And we had to set him up with Dragon. So we set him up with Dragon. Um, that's an expensive license. Like, dang. Oh, Dragon is. It's kind of like your phone's text to speech, or not text to speech, speech dictative typing on your phone, but on steroids for doctors or lawyers. Yeah, it's funky because I don't know what'll happen if you tell your Google keyboard to say, to Quokka or whatever it be. Uh, my legal library is very limited. I don't speak a lot of Latin. Español muy poquito, pero no Latin. But yeah. So we get this guy set up with Dragon. I come back a few weeks later because he's for some shocking reason has not contacted us for help with the software, which I found shocking because there's no way it's that intuitive. It's kind of a janky. It's not. It's okay. Janky's not the word for it. It's interesting. But anyway, he's really, really enjoying it, apparently. And I'm like, hey, that's great, cool. I notice it's not running right now because the little thing's not on the screen. And he's like, no, I was just using it. And I'm like, can you show me? And he's like, sure. And he proceeds to use the dictation feature that comes with Microsoft Word. It's like, oh no, we bought you a $500 license for Dragon. And you're using the thing that came with Microsoft Office. Cool. So I showed him how to use Dragon, which he also apparently liked, and I hope he's getting the hang of it. So I guess we'll see where that goes, but that was one thing. Then this person goes to another client of mine and works there for about a week, onboard them with that client. I'm like, wait a second, don't I recognize you? You know what? No comment. That client is now replacing all of their printers because their paralegal shared an article they used to have a bunch of HP printers there. However, they decided they don't want HP printers anymore because they see them as a security risk, because HP hired a bunch of ethical hackers to develop to prove that third-party ink cartridges could be used to load malware onto your computer. What they did in the process is prove that their printer's mechanism for, making sure you don't use third-party ink cartridges is so badly set up that it can make it possible to load ink cartridges load malware on people's computers with ink cartridges. It's like, oh my god, they shot themselves in the foot there. HP, that is. And like, so the printer's like, let me get this straight. So these printers can be hacked by ink cartridges? I don't want them anymore. So we had to replace all of their printers, and printers in general are just awful. So yeah, and like I said, she only worked at that place for about a week as well, so maybe got a better offer somewhere else. I respect the hustle, but dang, why you gotta leave me so much work? Are you comfy? I'm just checking. Would you like me to pet you? Well, I mean, you're wearing the collar, so sure, you can pet me too if you want. Although, disclaimer, actually, first, I have kind of bad dandruff, so, with that in mind, if you don't mind the, unfortunate snow, please, by all means. Yeah, well, it's incredibly thick. My hairbrush, or my combs, are missing teeth because of my hair. And I shed everywhere. No, I kid you not. If it weren't for the fact that you're coming over here, and honestly, probably if you look around enough, you'll see, like, just a little tumbleweed of hair that is, like, fallen off and gotten kicked to the corner, and like if you as you walk by them, the wind current you make just like sends a little hairball rolling across the floor. It looks like a spider, scares you, and you're like, oh, it's just a hair tumbleweed. It's awful. I need to like get a dog brush for like, when your dog's shedding, to like collect all my extra hairs or something. But anyway, if I may. Hmm? Of course I was serious about getting you a collar. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, like how much does a collar cost? Like what, $30, $40 for depending on, the quality, but no, I have not been checking prices. Shut up. And hush. What I'm trying to get at here is pretty sure a collar, which will last you as long as it does, costs a lot less than, a lot of other things. And like, what am I trying to say? If the collar makes you happy and it costs like $30, like hell yeah. Let's buy you a collar. I mean, they say money can't buy happiness. I have a $10 copay on my serotonin, or SSRIs. So that's bullshit. But if 3 months of happiness, if for the price of 3 months of happy pills, I can get a collar that'll make me happy, then like, yeah, hell yeah. I mean, you really seem to enjoy wearing it. No. When I say the happy pills, SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. I'm probably gonna misexplain how these work, but from my understanding, it keeps your body from recycling serotonin too fast because like your reward system's like, good job, you did a thing, and your body's like, great, okay, oh, let's clean this up now. We don't need the happy juices, and the SSRI is like, hold up, I'm not done with that yet. Sort of, kind of, sort of. Don't quote me on any of this. I am not a doctor. I work in IT. I should not work on anything with a pulse. There's actually this one hiring firm that still is sending me emails. They just saw technician on my resume and they're like, oh, okay, great. Hey, we're looking for a pharmacy tech. I'm not a pharmacy tech. I'm not qualified. Okay, cool. This place in Albuquerque is looking for a surgical tech. It's like, cool. I'm on the East Coast, and also not a surgical technician. I'm a network technician. Okay, cool. Well, here we have a pneumatics technician role open here in Portland. It's like, what? Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm a network technician, Jesse. It's like, what the heck are you talking? I had this one guy who clearly there was a miscommunication when it comes to when like a decimal got added or dropped when they were like passing the script back to this hiring company who's doing cold calls. It's a call center in India, and like this person calls me about a job at Publix. It's like, oh yeah, Publix is looking for like a IT sysadmin for this location, and they're offering $2 an hour. And I'm like, what? That's not right. Yeah, they're offering $2 an hour. Like that's below minimum wage. I'm like, oh, well, I'll let the client know that this is below minimum wage for the area. I'm like, no. That's below minimum wage for everywhere in America. I'm pretty sure it's $22, and because they said it was like $2.20. I think the decimal got shifted or something. Because I'm pretty sure the listing I actually applied to was for like 22. But this place is pretty nice, except for when you have to replace every single printer at an office. Although, I mean, if I had to replace them with HP printers, that would have been worse. Why? Because it's HP. HP, if you didn't know, stands for horrible printers. Don't quote me on that. Actually, you can quote me on that. HP, horrible printers, horrible products, hateable people. Although their business, I will say, I did work with one technician with their printer business, uh, warranty, technical support team, and whatever. And I will say he did a really good job at helping me find a secret settings menu that apparently existed somewhere in their software. I forget where, but the really cool thing was he followed up 2 weeks later. Is calling us like, hey, just wanted to make sure y'all aren't running into any issues. Like, that is something I've never gotten from a warranty technician. So like not just like in an email. He like called me. I'm like, yo, hell yeah. That's like, I will, I. That is one of the few times I will stay on the line for the survey. But he deserved that. But anyway, hi you. I hope you don't mind my rambling. Maybe a bit over your head. I know one thing that'll definitely get over your head. His email authentication. Oh gosh. Like, I hate how crazy email authentication is. And also just like email with like HIPAA and all that is like crazy. Like, don't even give me. Let me actually tell you about some of the weird intricacies of how HIPAA and email and fax works. I will pet you as I tell you this because it is exasperating. But basically, it's like, so I don't know if you know this, but emails are not HIPAA compliant usually. There are sort of exceptions, but we'll get to that in a second. Basically, you can't send electric personal health information in an email because that's going to be stored on the servers of your email provider, and unless you have a BAA with them, that establishes, the security practices that they have to keep up to and the, security standards that they have to keep up to, then you can't really have them storing medical info for you. And even if it's just in an email, they're still storing that. Now, if you have an on-prem email server, it could be a bit different, but still, it's not properly encrypted coming all the way through, so that still wouldn't really be HIPAA compliant. But it gets even more weird, because, like, then there's scanning to email, which, like, you can't use scan to email on medical records because then you're emailing the medical records, even if you're just emailing them to yourself, unless you have an on-prem email server, which is where the scanner is, scanning stuff up to. But at that point, why would you even do that? And then that server, of course, has to have all the correct safeguards and monitoring and things in place for HIPAA. You've got to be able to tell who accesses what, when, from where. And it's like... And then we have fax. Fax, technically, unlike email, because fax is not sitting in a digital inbox on, the cloud server of your email service provider. Instead, it's in physical paper. Technically, that is HIPAA compliant. Unless you have virtual fax that goes to your email, in which case, you're emailing again. It's crazy. But the thing that really gets me is how many companies, lately I've been like dealing with like people like, hey, I need to be able to email this client of mine. I'm like, okay, what's going on? It's like their emails are getting blocked. And I check, it's like, well, it's because they don't have their email set up properly. So there's this thing. Sorry, I'm ranting about IT. Let me pet you. Let me do a bit of both. So there's this thing called the Sender Policy Framework. Basically, every domain has a record with it that says who is allowed to send mail on behalf of this domain. So when I say domain, like for instance, gmail.com, right? It says, hey, if you get mail that says it's from gmail.com, it should be coming from these IP addresses. These are the IP addresses we use to send mail from, right? So that's how that works. And basically, more often than not, what'll happen, what I've seen so much lately, is a company that was using Microsoft will start using Proofpoint, but they won't update their SPF record. So what happens is their emails are coming from Proofpoint's mail servers, which is a different set of IP addresses than Microsoft's mail servers. And if they don't update their SPF record, then technically it's coming from IP addresses who aren't allowed to send mail for that domain, so we don't accept the mail. Now, if they have, depending on your mail service, it may treat it differently if it passes DKIM but not SPF. But if it's an SPF hard fail with some mail systems that these clients were using, what happens is it sees that it's a hard fail and says, okay, cut transmission. We're not going to even receive the email. You're coming from the wrong place. Therefore, we don't trust you. If it's a soft fail, it'll check and see if it passes DKIM. But because it's set as a hard fail, sorry, this is not making much sense, is it? Basically, there's a soft fail, there's a hard fail, and there's a neutral fail. Neutral fail means this means nothing. We have an SPF record. This is where you should expect things from, but if they come from somewhere else, trust them anyway, which is stupid and no one really uses that. Then there's the soft fail, which is probably don't trust this, but do another check just to be safe. And, maybe if the DKIM passes. And then there's hard fail, which basically says, yeah, if it does not pass SPF check, you should not accept the mail. Sort of. I think it originally, if I remember correct, soft fail was actually supposed to, before we had DKIM, soft fail meant send it to spam, and hard fail meant don't receive the mail. However, now that we have DMARC and DKIM, there's more than just SPF checks and that catch-all at the end that says what to do if it doesn't pass SPF is kind of, it's treated a bit differently. It's weird and silly, and I haven't read all the RFCs, but I realize I'm talking tech jargon. Complete nonsense, but long story short, it's just very annoying that a lot of companies don't know how to set up their email servers. But also just that people think that that emails have any form of security. Like, yes, there is some security to keep email spoofing from happening, but secure end email, in my opinion, the term secure email is an oxymoron. Email was not meant to be secure. It's just a protocol that everyone used back in the day, and it's the only protocol that we all agree on still, because everyone wants to make everything proprietary now. So email it is. And now we have the Fediverse with can't remember if Blue Sky is part of that. I know Threads is, and I think Mastodon is. I think Blue Sky is built on a slightly different platform, but basically it's allows authentication and through federation, where basically different services will I don't know how to explain it. It's complicated. It's late. I love how I am happy to get off my IT job and then go and think about and talk about and watch YouTube videos about other IT stuff. Moving data around and making it make sense is just something that brings me pleasure. Sometimes I wonder if there's like sometimes it's like, dang, is there a name for like a fetish for just data visualization and organization? Like, is that like is that like a thing that has a name? I feel like it would. Actually, that may just be fuck. I think that's actually just autism. Um, sorry. But yeah, no, like I don't know. Information stuff is always cool. Like being able to figure stuff out. I think I annoy people at my company because I like to understand why things are the way that they are. Because usually the answer is, um, oh, this is actually something really clever that I never saw why that would be. This is just the way that we've always been doing it. Or engineering doesn't realize that this is how the users are doing it. Wait a second, what the fuck? You've been doing this way for how long? Yeah. I like to call those secure benches when it's one of those, wait, why have you been doing it this way? Or wait, why are we still doing it this way? Well, it's because of this thing that's no longer in place. Like, so let me tell you the story. Um, Basically, the story I heard was there's this commander who is taking over an army base, or he's being put in charge, and the first thing he does when he's being put in charge is he goes around and asks everyone at the base what their role is, what they do, why they do their job. And there's this one guy, and his job is to just guard this bench, make sure no one sits on it. And we didn't know why, so he went and asked the guy who's previously running the base, and he's like, yeah, I don't know either. They were just already doing that, so we kept the guy posted there. So he checked the person who ran the base before him, and you go all the way up to like this retired 3-star general. And he, reaches out to me. He's like, hey, I was wondering why we have a guard posted by this bench. And the general responds to him is like, well, I'm not sure. I would have thought the paint would have dried by now. And you'd be surprised how many things are like that in IT. It's, yeah. Oh gosh, don't even get me started on. Yeah, there's all that. Plus, on top of that, is like. It's just weird. And you have like just some of the most antiquated technology. It's really interesting. I was working with someone like, oh yeah, I need to run these reports. I need to get this information. I'm like, okay, cool. How often do you have to get these? And they're like, oh, like only once every year or so. I'm like, okay, cool, cool. We're trying to figure out how to work the software, and it's like, oh, this requires Adobe Flash Player, and I'm like, um, I have bad news. It's like, oh yeah, you're trying to work this software? Sure, I can give it a crack. I can take a look. Oh my god, Windows 95 wants their UI back. But yeah. Anyway, I probably have bored you with tech jargon so much that your head is spinning. So let's just gently hold it between my hands like this. Scratch your hair. and just see if I can change the subject for a minute. What should I talk about? Birds. Oh my god. Birds are such funky creatures. What? Look, I'm infodumping, okay? It's been a minute since we've seen each other. This is my autistic way of showing our friendship. Okay? I mean, hey, if you have anything you want to talk about, I'm curious to listen. But at the same time, dogs don't talk, do they? So, sorry, that... Sorry, you're wearing the collar. I thought it'd be a funny joke. I hope that wasn't. And you do seem to enjoy being creature. La criatura. And I mean, hey, if you want to listen to me rant, I will, or just randomly ramble, I will happily oblige. You already know I can talk for hours. And we'll talk for hours. Provided no one stops me. Birds. I saw an eastern bluebird at my feeder yesterday. It's really cool. They're not very blue. Or maybe it was a female, I think. But, like, the blue parts were closer to a navy, but had the really bright, rusty colored breast, which is like, it's very orange for a bluebird. They're also pretty cute. Kind of pretty. I also saw a brown thrasher for the first time, and it's funny because so there are wrens, which are these little birds. They almost always have their tail up at like a 90-degree angle from the rest of their body. It's weird. There's these little birds, really loud, speckled, kind of cream-colored underbellies, and rusty red upper bodies. I think they have something, not a stripe, I forget how to describe them, but they have a really thin beak. They like bugs, and they hop around on the ground a lot. Not a sparrow, they're a bit different. They don't spend quite as much time in parking lots, but they also love to like nest in people's garages for some reason. But anyway, occasionally a wren will land on my feeder, and they like bugs, so it'll dig around looking for bugs. Now, there aren't any. I want to get some mealworms, but the store was out. But they'll, go digging around for bugs in the feeder, and it's funny, because when they do that, they'll, like, flick seeds out of the feeder. Just like, not a bug, not a bug, not a bug. And it's kind of funny to watch, but at the same time, it's like, dang, I literally just filled that thing. Will you please stop throwing seeds? Then there's the brown thrasher, which is like, it looks kind of like a wren in like the way that it's colored, but it's a lot bigger, like closer to the size of a blue jay, or maybe a bit smaller. So I saw this guy lands on the feeder today, and is just like doing the same thing a wren does, digging for bugs and flinging seeds everywhere. But it's a much larger bird, so it's just like throwing them everywhere and making a racket. I'm like, my guy, you are supposed to eat the seeds, not yeet the seeds. And blue jays do the same thing. Like, fly up to the feeder yelling at all the other birds to get out of the way and chuck seeds out of the feeder for no good reason. It's like, you don't have to be a jerk. Like, sheesh. And the red-bellied woodpeckers are much nicer. It's funny, they can't really land flat on the feeder, so they, like, dangle off the side. It's very funny to watch them try to figure it out. But I recently looked up the call that I would always hear them make, and apparently it's the locating call to locate their mate. So basically, I'd often see, like, the female fly up and then chirp that call, and then the male would show up a bit later and take a few seeds. Today it was just the male that I saw, but I'm sure his bird wife is somewhere. Oh, and then of course the chickadees and titmice. I love them because they'll like let you get right up to the window. They don't really care that much because they know they're small and not a lot of meat, so not worth chasing, I guess. But their beaks are too thin to properly like break sunflower seeds. So what they'll do is they'll peck at them to break them, and it's fun to watch, except for when you're trying to take a nap in the other room, because what'll happen is they will go and peck at the fucking feeder, and it sounds like someone's knocking at the window while they're trying to break a nut open. It's like, could you please not do that, you little flying frick? But I love how they look. They just have like the cutest little tufts, or crests, I think is what they're called. The titmice, yeah. Yeah, I've got some good pictures. I'll show you later. Same with the chickadees, although they can be a bit feisty. And of course, there are plenty of cardinals. I will say, I've noticed for the first time, I think ever, I've actually seen the cardinals molting. And for some reason, when they molt, a lot of the times their head feathers will all molt at the same time, while the rest of their plumage is still sort of there. And they just look really ugly. It's just a really funky looking bird, and I'm like, look this up, and I'm like, what is this bird? Oh, that's a cardinal. He's just having a bad hair day. Let's see, what other birds do we get out of the feeder? They're the downy woodpeckers. They're mean, and for some reason just will not share the feeder. They have to chase everyone else off. So I chase them off because I don't like when they do that. And then, of course, oh, we occasionally get, I haven't seen them actually the past few days, but we're getting white-breasted nuthatches, which look slightly like titmice. They're around the same size. Longer beak. Almost have a pattern that looks a bit like a seagull. Not a white seagull, like with the gray down its back. Not quite. Some birdwatcher is probably screaming at me in their head right now because of how badly I'm describing these animals, but oh my god, one of my favorite birds though is the Inca dove, because what they do to stay warm in the winter is they will stand on top of each other in like a pyramid, like up to 3 birds tall, just like stack up in a pile. It is adorable. The first time I thought it was like an optical illusion. Like, did that bird just jump on that other bird's head? Nope, you were standing on the other bird. We weren't even supposed to get them, but they kind of got, there was a storm that year, winter storm, and they kind of got driven a bit further east than usual. It's also just really funny how, like, when the birds are fighting. Excuse me. Looks like I'm sleepy here, too. You seem a bit sleepy, too. I would offer to let you lay across my lap on a pillow or something, but like I said, I don't want to give you my germs, so lean the other way and I can just reach over and pet you. Okay? Anyway, it's just so cute how, like, when, like, the birds will, like, be chasing each other away from the feeder, things like that. Whenever a dove is, like, trying to lead the situation, but it hasn't gotten to the point where it wants to fly yet, because doves, they can hop, they can walk, and they can fly, but they can't run. They can just walk with, like, more intensity. Walks quickly. It's just very fun whenever they're like, I don't want to be in this situation, but I don't want to fly, so I'm just going to walk away very fast. That's the best way I can word it, but yeah. You enjoying this? It's not something to be flustered about. It's fine. I'm glad you enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy hanging out and talking about birds while petting my dog friend. Should I not call you my dog friend? I mean, I'm not calling you that to anyone else. but like, dog friend it is. So when we get you a collar, what kind of collar are you thinking? Hmm. I'm not sure. And honestly, like I think the most. So I was trying to think of like the one for formal wear. I think like the most kind of stealthy or like socially acceptable looking one, if that's what you're going for, would be maybe like just like a regular like sort of choker sort of style necklace slash collar thing. Maybe one with like a ring or something like that. But I don't know. I'm not quite sure what your style would be. Cause you also seem like you'd like a fabric collar, just because it's softer, you know. Yeah, I don't know. Just thinking things in my brain, like someone with a brain would do if they had a brain or something. I don't know, man. I'm just a dog. Sorry, you're just a dog. I just work here. Well, I don't work here, but sorry, brain is both tired and still running at full speed. Love when it does that. Yeah. You think about what you want for a collar. What color, what sort of design, and we'll see if we can find it. Okay? And if you want to, you don't have to. And don't worry about that part. I can help you pay for it. I just got my bonus, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, it was after working, recently starting at the job, so it wasn't big, but I'm happy to pitch in. Why? Once again, you're my friend. Hey, look, we're probably about to place like a $40 order on DoorDash later tonight. Let's be honest here. Once again, substitute one of those orders with a collar at some point. Basically the same price. That's the way I look at it. Granted, looking at it that way, considering the amount of DoorDash I buy, I feel like I'm going to end up with a lot of collars. I'll tell you what, I will consider my philosophy, and you consider what kind of collar you want, and we will reconvene on this in a bit. And on another note, what are you feeling for food? That's fair. I'm not super hungry yet either. Worst case scenario, we can have ramen, which is not really a bad case scenario. I've been trying to like learn how to cook an egg in the ramen as you do it. It's a bit tricky. I don't know how to like, and it's not that tricky. Like once the water is boiling, if you spin it right and you put the egg in a cup and slowly pour it in to poach it with the noodles, like you can do that. It just doesn't look very good, and I feel like I'm not doing it quite right. Like it tastes fine, a bit bland, but that's because I don't know how to season. Um, yeah. Look, friendo, I would absolutely make a poached egg and ramen for you. As a token of our friendship, I will happily poach an egg in your ramen. You want some now? No, you're too comfy. Sorry, I won't tease. My bad. You just look very comfortable and like you're having a good time. And that's good for you. And I'm happy for you. Is that the reset button? I feel like this is your reset button. Well, I'll keep that in mind. So, weird thing to bring up here. Just want to say, dang, you have really relaxed. I'm proud of you. What, can I not say I'm proud of you? No, that's my New Year's resolution, is to replace, like, good job or congratulations with I'm proud of you. It's gonna just show me who had parental issues growing up. But yeah, I'm proud of you for English. I'm proud of you for relaxing. Good on you. What? Okay, well, maybe it's not a big feat, but, like, it's still. All I'm saying is you tend to be really, really, like. What else did you say? High strung. You hold yourself on a tight leash. Bad metaphor. You get what I'm saying, though. It's just, I don't know. Nice to see you relax. I get it. I've been there. I was also a gifted kid growing up, so I get how it be. We love the gifted kid burnout pipeline. Hell yeah. I say that sarcastically, if it's not obvious. But I mean, hey, well, I may no longer be that gifted kid all the time. At least I'm someone's favorite technician. Granted, being someone's favorite technician at an IT job is the worst sometimes, but it's still. What is it the word? Because that means you're the person who they're going to call, and they're going to call you directly instead of putting in a ticket, and then I have to put in the ticket, and when you have to, like, make 20 tickets a day, it gets annoying very quickly. Right, the IT industry is like bizarre. Like people watch. It's like you have to solve. It's like a mixture between just like trivia, puzzle solving, and like mystery solving or like investigation. It's just really weird, the mix of things. It's funky. I really do enjoy my job, honestly, just because I get to like work on so many things, but that's besides the point. What was the point again? Oh yeah, you too high strung. Relax. Good, good dog. Pat pat. Good on you for relaxing. It would seem I am getting notifications. And he has it. You relax here, all nice and comfy. I'll go make us some ramen, and then we can watch a movie or something like that, and I'll pet you more, okay? Okay. Thank you for listening to me rant about IT stuff. uh, Ooh, ask me some other time, and I'll have to tell you about Dell docking stations burning up extension cables. It's funny. Anyway, ramen. Let me go boil water now. Ah.